Greetings everyone, I am Dr. Furkan Gözükara. In this video, I am going to show you how to bind .NET Core 7 WPF user interface elements to code behind observable fields and automatically get them updated in an asynchronous and non-UI blocking fashion. To achieve this, I will show you how to utilize ObservableProperty from Microsoft Community Toolkit MVVM library. Moreover, I will explain how to use notifyPropertyChangedEvent to trigger UI updates automatically. Furthermore, I will demonstrate how to use async yield return and Random.Shared property to generate trace-safe random numbers in an asynchronous way. Another thing that I am going to explain is how to achieve placeholder in WPF text boxes. I will show in details how you can add placeholder text to WPF text boxes. The placeholder feature is not available by default. Let's name this as UI lecture. Okay. So I am composing a WPF application with .NET Core 7, which is the latest version. Okay, first let's add our text boxes and let's add placeholder text to these text boxes in the best optimal way. Alright, so now we have two text boxes, and in the code behind I will achieve the placeholder text. Okay, first let's define the placeholder text of the text boxes. Okay. We are going to set text boxes text to equal to this one in the initialization. Okay, now we are going to utilize two events of text boxes which are got focus and lost focus. So for txt email, okay, got focus, we are going to define a new event. Okay, we are doing an event binding. Whenever txt email got focus, this method will be called. However, I want to make this a generic method so that I can use same method in both of the text boxes, or if I add more text boxes, I can also use on them. So I will name this as txt got focus like this. Okay, now we need to check from which object, which button this event has come, and based on that, we can set the text or not. All right. So if the default text is, if the written text is equal to our default text, we will set the text of the text box as empty. So let's write. Okay, so now we are checking that if this text box is equal to our txt email, then we need to check like this, equal to, then it has the default text, therefore we can set its text as equal to empty like this. However, as you can see, this is not an optimal solution, so we can write another method such as return default text. This will get the object sender. All right, so in here I will do switch and case and will return the default text. Okay, so based on the name of the sender, which is a text box for this one. Okay, what cases do we have? We have case txt email like this, and in this case we need to return email place text like this. And if it is txt username. Then we need to return username place text, and we also need to return something for default. Okay, return like this. All right, and these breaks will never hit, therefore they are like this. So I now can modify this method in a more generic way, such as that. Okay, sender. Okay, as you can see now, I have made it much more generalized, and now we need same for lost focus event. So let's also set this event as. All right, now let's define lost focus. Okay, I will also name this as txt lost focus like this. And in this case, what are we going to do is we are going to reset the default text if no other text has entered. All right, so it will be like this: if string is null or empty. All right, let's remove the parentheses. Okay, then by the way, we should also trim this if someone enters empty character. Yeah, we will set the text as equal to default text. All right, so what are we doing here is we have defined a return default text so that we can know according to the which text box we have the placeholder text, and we have defined two events which are got focus and lost focus like this. And when we got focus, we will check that if a different text is entered or not, and if lost focus, it will be the same principle. So let's run our application and test it. We can also put a breakpoint to see how they behave. Okay, so when I click it, the first text box, which is the username, now we can see the sender, and let's see if we can see in the debug mode. Okay, just never mind. I will enter inside the return default text, and in here, yes, the name is txt username, so it will return username place text, and if it is equal to placeholder text, the default one, now I will set text like this, and it is like that. Okay, now we got lost focus in the which one, if you ask, in the txt username, and we will now return the same, and since the text was already empty, therefore we did set it like this. Okay, now you see they are working. Let's add something different, and yes, and something different here. Okay, so we have, as you can see, achieved the placeholder feature that you can find in HTML in the WPF text boxes. Now we can move our next stage. Okay, before moving to next stage, I am going to also show you another cool thing. This is a thing that you can do in the newer version of C# programming language. You can define, you can do the unboxing with as keyword like this, sender as text box. Okay, so you see it looks more clear if you ask me. Okay, working. Now let's move to the next stage with adding a list box. In this list box, I will display the inserted edit username and emails. Okay. However, for doing that, I will use observable collection. So whenever I modify observable collection, the list box will get updated automatically. Okay. All right. Let's name this button as add user. Okay. Name add user. And let's compose click event. Okay. For achieving that, we need an observable collection. I will make it as okay, observable collection. It will hold string data, and let's name it as ListBox content, like this. Okay, let's initialize it. All right, now we need to bind this element to our ListBox as an item source. Okay, so how can I do that? I can do that both in the code behind or in the XAML. So for this one, I will do it in the code behind. All right. So we need to also add a name to our list box to access it, and let's call it as display users. Let's set up. Okay, let's make it like display users. Okay, display users dot item source equal to listbox content. Since listbox content is observable collection type, whenever an item is added or removed, it will notify wherever it is bind. Okay, so in this add user click, I will add users to listbox content like this. Okay, let's use insert method, and I will insert into 0 index, and let's insert as txt username text. Okay, and txt email text. Okay, so you see I am not adding anything into listbox. What advantage this one has? If my method were running in a subthread, then it would still work without causing any errors. I wouldn't be need to use dispatcher event. Okay, you see it is working. All right. For example, we can test if our method is working in subthreads or not. All right. Private static void at random values. Okay, in here I will add Random.Shared next. Random.Shared is a multi-thread safe. You see a thread safe property that you can use like this. All right. We need to set it as toString. Let's also format it. So in here, I will call task factory start new. I don't need to wait for these tasks to be executed or started. Whenever they get started, it will just work. Okay. It's not auto-completing. All right, I will just do myself. Okay. Now, this method call will work in a subthread, not in the main thread. Therefore, if I wanted to access my list box, let me show you. Okay, by the way, since this is a static method, I can't just directly access it. To be able to access it, I need a reference and like this, and from here, okay, items, display users, items, add, right? Let's add anything because it will throw an error. This will say that another thread can't access another thread's attributes. Let me show you. Okay, we got an invalid operation exception happened inside here. So you see no items are added. Okay. Actually, if you put a breakpoint here, it should show us the error. Okay. Now I can see the error here. Let me show you. Okay, where is the error? All right, it is surpassing the error, so it is not throwing the error. Okay, now since I click it Common Language Runtime Exceptions, I am able to see the exception thrown. It says operation is not valid while item source is in use. Access and modify elements with item source control instead. Okay, if even if doesn't if even if weren't the case, let me show. Now when I try, okay, you see the calling thread cannot access this object because different threads own it. In a multi-threaded environment, you can't just modify um, elements of a list box. Also, using an observable collection is a better way, if you ask me, in many cases. So let's just remove this. Okay, now let's see if it is working. Okay. Oh, it looks like this type of object is not also supporting observable collection. So we still need to use dispatcher for synchronization. Okay, I will use begin invoke and okay, okay, new action. All right, like this. And one more thing, we need to get dispatcher from the main window. All right. And also I need to write this code inside the dispatcher. So it turns out that I was expecting this to be actually thread safe, but it didn't. All right, as you can see now it is working without blocking UI and fully asynchronously. Anyway, I will just keep this so you can also check it out later if you want. All right, and as a next thing, let's add an event trigger, but for what? I'm going to add a label here, and I will say that this label will display number of elements. Okay, inside the list box, and I will bind it into another field. Okay, so let's say number of elements label. All right. Okay, as a first way, I will show the easier way with Microsoft Toolkit MVVM. Let me show you. Okay, let's search it in the NuGet package. Okay, you see we have Microsoft Toolkit MVVM. And we also need to install Microsoft Community Toolkit other than the MVVM. Okay, Community Toolkit is named like this, Community Toolkit Common. Okay, okay, here, this one. All right, so in this case, I am going to define an observable field. Okay, so let's say public int number. By the way, I will make it like this: number of elements. I will tag this, attribute this with observable. Okay, property. All right, and this will generate automatic code if you ask where. Okay, if I remember it, let's save it. Okay, by the way, this has to be inside a public partial class like this. Okay, class, let's name it as observe example. All right, inside it, I will set it like this. And this has to be observable object. All right. And now, when we rebuild, let's rebuild it. Okay, and okay. Now it has opened the source generation, automatic source generation. So you see, the Microsoft Toolkit MVVM source generator has generated this another public partial class for us. And inside it we have now public int number of elements, as you can see, and it has the on property changed event binded automatically and other things which are necessary. Now this is actually this, named as this number of elements, is an observable property that we can use. Actually, we can make this a private as well, because this generated source code is public. Okay, so it handles that part for us as well. Now what we need to do is we need to bind this into that element. Okay, let me show you. Okay, okay, now instead of content we will use binding like this, binding, and I will bind it to let me show number of elements like this. By the way, I need to set the context of this data context equal to this, otherwise it can't know. All right, and now we need to modify this property so that we can know it is working or not. So whenever I click at user click, I will increase it by 1. This is just for illustration. Okay, and it says it doesn't exist, but it does exist actually. Yeah, the reason is we need to define that object in observable in our main window. Actually, we need to, okay, we need to generate an instance of this object so that we can use it. Let's say observable object. Okay, and in here we have number of elements. Okay, And now I need to, okay, now we need to bind it, and here comes the tricky part. To binding it, we need to bind the data context of label. Okay, like this, the class instance that we have generated, observable example. And now, since the data context of this particular UI element will be instance of our observable class, now I can just bind its element like this in the content. All right. Okay, now it is working, as you can see. And there is another methodology which is notifyPropertyChangedEvent. For illustrating it, I will add another content and another method. All right, name another, let's say, number. Okay, to be able to achieve this, we need to first inherit iNotify property changed attribute, or okay, not the attribute but the iNotify property changed. And okay, this interface is requires adding a new reference which is using system component model. Okay, now it is giving us an error because it says that you have inherited this interface, however you didn't implement its necessity, which is, when we go to definition we can see, I believe, which is it requires an event property changed event handler. Okay, so this is a necessity that we need to have. Okay, let's define it in the bottom. Public event property changed event handler, like this. And we also need to write this method. I wonder if it is auto-completing. Okay, there is no auto-completion. I will write the method myself. So the method will be private void notify. This name is totally from us. Property changed. Okay. Now you can give the property name, or you can automatically get it as well. Probably this is available only in the newer version of C#. Okay, CallerMemberName, and by optional we can set property name like this. Okay, so if we don't provide the optional property name, then it will get its name automatically from the CallerMemberName. Then if, okay, this property changed, okay, is not equal, then I will say that property changed, you see this is an event, this is that the CallerMemberName or the property name, then new property changed event args and the property name. Okay, so this will also let us notify the UI thread elements, the bind elements. For this to work, we need to have a property like this, and we need to have its get and set method. I will say this as randomly generated string. Okay, let's make it a string. And we also need to have a private value of this when we are setting it. Yes, it's a necessity, I believe. Okay, string. In the get method, we will just return the randomly generated string, and in the set method, this is the tricky part. Okay, let me show. We will set value equal to new value, I mean the randomly generated string equal to value, and we will call our notify property changed event. Okay, so I don't need to provide name, it will be automatically get. And there is one final thing, I need to bind this label value to this property. If you don't bind it, this event will never fire. Okay, for example, let me show what I mean. This is another thing that you need to solve. I wonder if this will automatically work in this case. Yeah, let's try it here. Okay, I will try it in the subthread. I didn't try this previously. Okay, yeah, it says that we can't just access it because this is an instance field. So let's try it like this. Yes. And okay. By the way, I'm not sure if this will require dispatcher or not. Okay, the property changed event is null, as you can see. Why? Because we didn't bind it to our property yet. So let's bind it. Okay. Binding. Okay. Randomly generated string like this, and let's retry. By the way, we will be trying to change it in the subthread, so I'm not sure if it will work or not. Okay, property changed is not anymore null, as you can see, because we did bind it. And nice. So you see, this method works from code in the subthreads as well, because I think I know the reason, because this event is already working in the main thread, in the UI thread, therefore it is not throwing us any error. So this is the second way that you can bind elements, bind UI elements into the code behind variables, and whenever the code behind variable is updated, change it will notify the UI to update its to get its updated. All right. Okay, and okay, one final thing is left in this lecture, which is asynchronous yield return. Okay, so okay, in this case, for asynchronous yield return, yeah, we can use the observable collection. This button will be async. Okay, and I am going to write another async method. It will return string. Okay, private static string. Return round number. By the way, this method will be also async. Okay, and what does it do? What will it do? It will return 10 numbers. Okay. However, how? It will return 10 numbers from another method called, which will be private static string. Actually, this can be yeah, let's just don't change it. Private static string return numbers, or let's say random number string safely. Okay, this will return random shared next to string and 0, and in here we will return yield return number safely. However, we want this method to be asynchronous. Therefore, I will do yield return task from result, okay, like this, and I will use await task delay, so it will return numbers with 500 milliseconds. Okay, and it will be like this. By the way, since this is an async, it has to return a task. So I will make it as async enumerable. All right, and task. Okay, and string. Why did I make it async enumerable? Async enumerable because yield return will return whenever a unique an iteration has completed. Okay, so it will be like an enumeration, and inside this button I am going to add generated elements into ListBox content. By the way, currently this will still work in the main thread, so I think it should work just fine. So for each return round number method call, okay, let's say var round num, and let's add it to our ListBox like this. Okay, so with each 500 seconds, by the way, I have to await this. So I need to await this like this. All right. And okay, what am I missing? Oh, I need to await for each, not inside here, of course. Okay, since this was async enumerable, I have to await for each, and it says now it is missing the index, so I will just use add. Okay, now okay, what we are missing, oh, this will return a task string, therefore and we are not using an await here. If we use await like this, okay, it is not working, so we need to get result of the task. Okay, now let's run it. Okay, for every 5 milliseconds, you see we are getting a new number inserted into our listbox, and the user interface fully interactive. As you can see, I can also click this like this. All right. Are there anything else that I want to mention? Okay, I think this is for all for today. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comment sections. Please like and subscribe our video if you haven't already. Okay. And one final request that I have, we have opened a Patreon page. Please support us in here if it is possible for you. The entire source code of this application will be posted for our members. Of course, you can type it yourself. However, if you support us, we would appreciate very much, and it would enable me to generate better videos and produce more better videos. It could allow me to become a full-time content producer. Hopefully see you later in the next video.